Hello and welcome to another episode of the Daily Chat Podcast, where we talk about all things awesome and nerdy. Everyone, we're going to be talking about something that, we haven't really delved into anything too incredibly specific ever on the show, right, Dan?
Nope, normally it's just kind of meandering conversations back and forth that don't tend to make a lot of sense to anyone who wasn't in the room, and since it's only you and I, that's about who it all of them makes sense to.
Right. Well, today we're going to be talking about something very, very specific in terms of...
Kyle, let's be honest, we made a list show.
We made a list show.
We made a list show.
Play
the theme music!
I'll edit that in later.
The suspense of the theme music. Yeah, we made a list show.
Yeah, the very third list show I've ever done on this one.
Oh, it's my first list show.
It is your first list show, but we've also done, there is the annual super comic book movies of the year.
Oh, yeah, I didn't do that.
Yeah, no, because it just couldn't work out for our schedule this past year because I was back home in Rhode Island and you were still out here in sunny Los Angeles.
Not so sunny today.
Not so sunny today. In fact, it's raining. Probably like, the second out of third day of the year we're going to get rain.
Yeah, probably. This is, so enjoy it while it lasts, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Suck it up.
Yeah, absolutely enjoy the fact that you can sit inside and not feel guilty for wasting the sun.
Nope, it's a good time to crack a beer.
Exactly.
Just open up that can of chowder that you've had sitting in your cupboard for about 3 years and enjoy.
I mean, it's a can of Progresso chowder, so it's still probably pretty good.
Ah, it's fine. Nuclear war, any kind of disaster.
I mean, I don't think you can get much higher than...
dented cans are 10 cents off, so...
Yeah, exactly.
How can you beat that?
Right?
How can you?
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, today Dan and I are going to be counting down a list of our favorite movie villains of superhero movies.
Of superhero movies. Specifically.
We might actually turn this one into a series every once in a while, because I was thinking maybe we could do a later episode of just maybe the sci-fi villains, or,
Yeah, space villains would be cool. I think action movies would be cool. Kind of like big bads in action movies.
Yeah, like your Hans Grubers and everything like that.
Right, yeah. I mean, Hans Gruber's automatically number one anyways.
Well, I mean, it's not Christmas until I see him fall off the Nakatomi Plaza.
No.
Exactly. Plus, it's Alan Rickman.
It is.
It is Alan Rickman.
R.I.P. in peace.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
But the Metatron.
We've got a list show. And so I think I came up with my own rating system of how I'm going to do this, and I felt like I was pretty thorough in the 40 minutes I gave this between work stuff, because it's a Friday and I had stuff to do. Kyle also gave it about 15 or so.
15 minutes, yeah, because I've been busy helping people move this week. So
let's be honest. I mean, we're those kinds of guys. Like, we're going to help you out. We're going to make sure it gets done. But, we're going to wait till the last minute to do it, goddammit.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's just our generation.
So, Dan, since that you and I have slightly varying criteria, and yes, I know it's kind of cheating, but we're doing this based on personal preferences between Dan and myself. Dan, what is your criteria for...
So, I have a breakdown. I broke it down into 4 categories. Mm-hmm. And I have... comic origins, how close we are aligned to the source material. I have quotability, because I feel like that's something that really registers and sticks with a character, about how good that character was on screen, right? It's not so much up to the performance, although that's a huge part of it, but like what stuck out, what was memorable to you. So I just called it quotability. Evil plan, right? How diabolical. Like, are we robbing a bank? Are we controlling a city? Are we ruling the world, universe? Like, what's the scale? How big are we going, And then success. How'd you do? Did you do it? Did you not do it? Did you get foiled? Most of these guys got foiled.
Yeah.
My number 2 might surprise you.
I'm actually looking forward to your number 2 because I don't know this one at all.
And then, so I broke it down to averages, and then I do have an honorable mention for the worst villain that I could think of.
I think we both did. I have actually 2 honorable mentions for my worst villains. Because I'm going above and beyond. I'm doing extra credit.
The overachiever over here.
Exactly. As a man who just, did this like 10 minutes ago. So,
Kyle, what's your breakdown?
My breakdown is actually something very similar. For me, it's more about when it comes to the plan. Sure, like how close did you come to success, or how successful the villain was is a factor, but I'm also factoring in what necessarily motivated you to do this. Mm-hmm. You know, or in some cases, lack thereof. Mm-hmm. There's also...
That's a good one.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a very good one.
Exactly. There's also, there is also quotability, but there's also just how well did you steal the scene in some regards.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Or just even overall presence,
yep.
I would say.
Yep.
There's also just the how freaking cold are you? Like
how evil is your evil?
Exactly. Like
how funky is your chicken?
There is one character on this list that you and I were talking about beforehand that we had a slight discrepancy about, and I totally understand that, but I'm only focusing because this character has popped up multiple times throughout the franchise.
Okay.
So, and it's not who you think it is right off the bat, I guarantee it, but it's your next best guess at any rate. The point is, I'm only specifying this character for one movie, and I'll tell you about it, who it is, when the time comes.
All right.
Yeah.
So how do we want to do this? Do you want to go first? Should I go first, or do you want to pass the mic? We'll give our 5s, and then our 4s, and then our 3s.
I say it's just, you know what? Let's just go one each. You
okay.
Give your
pass
5.
the mic. We'll do the Run DMC thing.
Exactly.
The Beastie Boys, if you will.
Exactly.
Right. We're just missing like an Adam Yauch.
Exactly.
And other than that, we'd be cool. We're just not cool.
All right.
So I'll kick it off then.
Mm-hmm.
My number 5. So my number 5 is from a pretty recent movie. One that got some mixed reviews on, I feel. I really liked it. I thought it was a great character study on everyone in the group. And I thought it was a really good follow-up to the original. So from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Ego, played by Kurt Russell. So as far as his comic origins goes, is where I start, rating people. I gave him a 2 out of 5. Ego's not at all. Peter Quill's father, Jason, who's the space Hitler.
Which
all around douche. So I gave him a 2 out of 5 for that.
Yeah, Jason's basically the Marvel equivalent of Darth Vader.
Although Ego is a Celestial, that's true. So that kicked him up to the 2. But God, lower G, little
G, God,
yeah, little G. Quotability, right there, God, little G. Mm-hmm. I only gave him a 2 out of 5. But also 2 out of 5 because it's Kurt Russell. And I feel like you just kind of got to give the character name. And you're like, oh, Kurt Russell, and then that just pops up a whole bunch of imagery. And you kind of get it. Mm-hmm. Evil Plan. This was the only guy I had that was conquer the cosmos, global, universal life destroyed.
So he's Space Hitler. Another Space Hitler.
Well, so is Jason, but yeah, pretty much. This is about as evil as it gets, right? Eradicating all life, and just except for you and maybe your son if he decides to join, come to the dark side, but maybe not. So yeah, pretty evil. Also killed a bunch of his own kids. Literally had a bone graveyard of his own children. That's evil. Success, 2 out of 5. Couldn't pull it off. It looked like from the movie that there was some massive destruction, and I don't doubt that some people died across the whole universe. So he's probably responsible for the deaths of, let's be honest on the figures here, hundreds of thousands to millions. But, didn't follow through on it. So I'm going to give him a 2 out of 5. So on an average, it's a 2 out of 5. I know that sounds really strict and really unfair, but 2 out of 5 out of my top 5 villains in Marvel movies, Marvel, DC, Vertigo, all of them, not bad. Not bad.
Okay. So I too am actually going with a very recent entry on this list. In fact, even more recent than your entry just now. I am actually going to go with Eric Killmonger from Black Panther.
Good pick.
For a number of reasons. I didn't do the whole
He would have been in my top 10.
Yeah, I'm
Easy.
not. Yeah, I didn't do the whole breakdown, the score of each part of their playing the same way you did. But all I'm simply going to say about him is, first off, I just love the fact that this is the second Human Torch to have his career saved by the MCU.
Good point.
I love it. I absolutely love it. But it's just the fact that, at first I liked it because it started off almost as if it seemed like he was going to be the lackey. Mm-hmm. Turned out, no, he was really the brains behind the whole operation. Or at the very least, he had his own MO.
Ulterior motive.
He had his own ulterior motive. Plus, we talked about this too when we reviewed it. He's actually one of the few characters in the MCU to have a legitimate grievance with a lot of things that happened to him in his life, like T'Chaka, not the original, but the father of T'Challa, the Black Panther, killed his dad, just so happens to be, cousins with T'Challa. And, he had a right to take over the throne. And, it also showed a great dichotomy between, just the two different lives the way they grew up and the two different lives they grew up with. Like, T'Challa grew up...
In opulence.
He was a prince in, one of the wealthiest countries in the... No, the wealthiest country in the world. Let's be real here. If we at least want to talk per capita, it is the wealthiest country in the world, as far as the MCU is concerned. Whereas, Killmonger grew up in Oakland in a terrible time, and, he actually witnessed oppression.
Right.
Whereas T'Challa didn't.
Right.
So, and between, that, you killed my father, and the whole, I'm a black man that grew up in a country that's completely and utterly ruled by white guys that just want to keep putting me down. Yeah, you can kind of see why he's mad.
Yeah, he's definitely...
You can see why he's mad. And on top of that, too, he actually came... I know he's the lowest on my list, but when you really think about it, he was one of the few that came the closest to achieving his goal.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, he didn't really foil until the last, 5 minutes of the movie, basically.
And again, just to reiterate, this is top 5 out of everything that we've seen.
Yeah.
So, this is, prestigious.
Exactly. So, way to go, Michael. Way to go, Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, coming from us. Just a couple of nerds sitting around drinking beer on a Friday afternoon talking comic trash.
Exactly. Oh, also... One thing I got to give him credit for, even though I'm not the biggest fan of the anime, it was one of the few animes I remember watching as a kid. His costume, his final not the Black Panther one, the other one he had before, the more combat-ready one, that was a nod to Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, no kidding, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah, exactly, because apparently Michael B. Jordan is actually a really big nerd. So, and another thing, too, going into the whole how evil are you, I said before, too, he was just basically Zaz. He just figured his body every time he killed someone, and he joined the Marines, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
He killed a lot of people.
Yeah, that's pretty evil.
Yeah, exactly. All right, moving on.
Number 4.
So
number 4, I had a split. I had a two-way split, and I just couldn't get past who I wanted to put in there. So I put both. I have Bane, The Dark Knight Rises, and he's not Baron, but Baron Zemo.
Okay.
Because I don't know how else to refer him. Zemo just sounds like, the captain from 3,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Right.
Whenever I say it out loud. Comic origins for both of them, 2 out of 5. That was a mess. Both of them. Baron Zemo was nowhere near what he was supposed to be from Captain America, and Bane, that's a whole nother story.
I hate to cut you off, but as great as Tom Hardy's performance was, that was kind of an example of whitewashing.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
They took a character, raised in the Mexican prison with a luchador mask. There was a lot of reason why Bane had all the things that he did, all the character elements, and it just kind of, you're right, just kind of got washed over on this. So both of them 2 out of 5. No rave and no real connection to the comics. Except for the whole prison bit thing with Bane, but that was the only thing that kept me getting.
Yeah, but he wasn't even raised in the prison. That's the funny thing.
No, I know. He was just in prison.
Yeah.
Quotability. Bane gets a 5 out of 5 on that one because let's be honest, we've all given the Bane quotes.
Oh yeah,
all the time.
I shit on that movie every chance I get, but even I have to admit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I used to try and work Bane quotes into conference calls. Now is not the time for fear. That comes later. Talking about budgets to go make projects and stuff like that. Always. It'll be very painful for you. Baron Zemo, though, 0 out of 5. Can't think of a quote from that guy. Didn't even want to look it up because none of them were going to register. Just your standard run-of-the-mill dialogue. Great actor.
Yeah.
Not putting anything against either of their acting abilities. They were great, but there's no Baron Zemo quotes. Evil plan. So this might sound controversial. Bane got a 0 out of 5 for me. Not Bane's plan. Executed a plan. Great. Did a great job.
But it wasn't his plan.
Nope. Not his plan. Baron Zemo, though, on the opposite, 5 out of 5.
He won.
Oh, yeah.
He won.
He did exactly what he was trying to do. He was looking to fracture and dismantle the Avengers, and up until, we'll find out in, late April, because they moved up the date, we'll see how well he did. Because as of now...
There are no Avengers.
Shit splintered. It's in the wind. He won. However temporary that may be, we will see. But these are comic books, folks. People win and lose and die and come back to life all the time. Success, Bane, I'm giving him 3 out of 5. He broke the Batman's back, and the whole nuclear plan. Pretty much, sent him into
exile for like half a year.
Yeah, at least, and not to mention the fact that like although he might not have ultimately like blowed up Gotham with a nuclear bomb, that city is wrecked.
Yeah,
wrecked. Like there is no coming back from that. Gotham City is now a slum in whatever universe that took place in. Let's not get into that. But Gotham City,
Earth 775B, like
Gotham's destroyed.
Yeah.
Baron Zemo, I did give him a 3.5 out of 5 for success. He did accomplish everything that he wanted to go out to. We are yet to see if it actually holds up, because I mean, just from Infinity War, we know they're going to get back together. We'll see how that happens.
Oh yeah, by the way, we should did we mention spoilers? By the way,
I think we're fine. I think at this point, if you haven't seen a movie that came out like 2 years ago, you're.
I got a guy on this list actually that I know you haven't seen yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, go on. Are you all set?
So my average was 3.75. That was my average for both Bane and Baron Zemo. But I felt like they mirrored each other's in like really. Yeah, really,
like when one did really good, the other one
did
really
really well, and that's why I had a hard time picking. They were both kind of on that list, and I know some people will disagree that like Baron Zemo shouldn't even be on that list, but I'm like, like you kind of caused Iron Man and Captain America to beat the crap out of each other for about 40 minutes, which was the most exciting part of that movie. So
exactly,
say nothing to Baron Zemo, he gave us a good movie. Exactly.
My number 4 is actually going to be Magneto, specifically Magneto from X1.
Okay, we're doing specifics, not just overall.
I am doing specifics.
Okay,
you can do it however you want. I am doing specifics.
Okay.
Even in the later ones, I could kind of understand, but not because like we were talking about this beforehand, and I got what you were saying. How like in X2 he really wasn't the bad guy, and
not at all.
He's pretty much not there in X3.
Yeah, he is. He does the whole like mutant.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Uprising and
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Class, yeah,
it's a new franchise, and to be quite honest with you, I don't care how good they are as movies. Like this whole new like prequel saga of the X-Men franchise, it's kind of
Days of Future Past I like, but let's be honest, it was because it was carried by Hugh Jackman, and enough said.
These timelines are so confusing.
They make no sense. None. I've been reading comics as long as my dude's a jerk.
I'm just saying that's what Deadpool said best. But at any rate, here's the thing though, like I got his motivation, and like this carries over from the comic books too. He's a Holocaust survivor, so he has seen the worst of humanity, and his whole story is he's a Holocaust survivor, comes to America eventually, thinks oh hey this could be like, and I'm not, and this by the way I'm counting specifically X1 and even to a lesser extent X2 and X3, whatever. The point I'm trying to get at though is he was a Holocaust survivor, saw the worst of humanity in Europe, comes to America, and I'm assuming at one point thought, oh, this is going to be a better life for me. And then all of a sudden, he sees the government trying to pass legislation saying, oh, well, we need to register mutants. We need to start thinking about, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. And of course, he's thinking, oh, I've seen this before. So I totally understand why he's like, you know what, screw this. Like, humanity, like, Homo sapien needs to go. As far as success, I mean, it was kind of the more generic thing with the villain, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I came so
to fight another day.
Which is not very common for most of the other villains on this list, believe it or not.
Good point.
Which we've talked about ad nauseum on this, how I'm just sick and tired of the X-Men trying to shoehorn that in every movie. But at any rate, even in X2, like, I totally get what you're saying, how he wasn't the main villain, but until like the last 5 minutes, but he still had an ulterior. You knew the whole time he had an ulterior motive than just helping Charles.
Of course,
like it was more than he didn't want to do just that.
Yeah, so. I mean, my whole thing against Magneto, and first let me just say, I like the way that you're doing the list because mine is pretty much when it boils down to it, mine's body count. Yeah. Mine's how many got left, but yours is motivation, and it's a much different way of looking at the list. My only thing with Magneto was that like the character just comes in like pitches and waves, like, and I can't just like I no longer have the ability to look at X1, the first X-Men movie, as a siloed thing because I think about the other 9, 8 movies,
something like that,
whatever that we're up to now, 9, if we're including Logan. That I can't look at it from like an individual perspective. And it's just because he's like, good guy, bad guy, good guy, kind of a good guy, bad guy, good guy, bad guy. Like, it just kind of keeps going like this, and I'm just like,
Right, but at least for the very first 3 movies, we can argue his success, the success of those movies another time. But the point is, the difference between, let's just say the difference between what's his name again? Ian McKellen?
Ian McKellen.
Yeah, Ian McKellen and Michael Fassbender's Magneto is... I get what you're saying more with the Michael Fassbender Magneto, because every movie it's just like, I'm friends with Charles, now I hate Charles. Now I'm friends with him, now I hate him. Whereas, like, the first 3 movies, like, you could tell, like, he did have a mutual respect for Charles and his philosophy, but at the same time he's going, you're wrong, Charles. You're 110% wrong.
Right.
He said that throughout the movies versus the Fassbender movies, he's always just, you know, like
Undecided.
I said before, he's undecided, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my thing.
I can see it. I can see it.
All right, moving on to number 3.
Number 3.
Mm-hmm.
So my number 3, I'm throwing it back here. I'm going Zod, Superman 2. Comic origins, 5 out of 5. Did a good job there. We are pretty closely aligned with the source material. General from old Krypton, sent out during a science expedition, survives with a couple of his lieutenants, ends up on Earth. This is all kind of following along like traditional comic lines, and we can try and figure out later on at a later date and like which came first or second, because I'm not entirely sure of the chronological order of Zod in Superman comics and what came first, Superman 2 or a lot of his.
Well, DC's just rebooted their continuity so many times it doesn't even matter.
I haven't read a lot of 80s Superman comics, let's be real here. 90s Superman comics were where I was at when Superman had the mullet.
The mullet.
That was what's up. But Zod, comic origins, I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. Quotability, 5 out of 5. When other movies quote Zod, Zod wins. He always wins.
Kneel before Zod!
You haven't played the campaign for Injustice 2, have you?
No.
There's a moment where you play as Black Canary, and you're about to fight Grodd. And he basically says something to the effect of, when I'm done, all of humanity will kneel before me. And then she goes, kneel before Grodd? That doesn't sound right.
No. Nope. I am master of all that I see, as I was yesterday and will be tomorrow. I say that some mornings when I wake up, just as I'm standing in my underwear, like, pouring a cup of coffee in my little, crappy one-bedroom apartment in Hollywood. I'm master of all that I see. Like I'm some big shot. So, quotability, 5 out of 5. You got it.
Yeah.
Evil plan. It really wasn't so much of a plan as it was show up and wreck stuff, but I rated him 3 out of 5 on this because who doesn't want to punch Superman in his pretty face?
Exactly.
Truth, 3 out of 5. Success, 2 out of 5. Dude got duped by Superman. And he had 2 other Kryptonians on his side.
Right.
He could have done a lot better. And didn't, and kind of fell through. So, Zod starts off really high, and I appreciate Zod a lot, and as far as, and I'm going off the Richard Donner Superman cut, not that, junk throw the ass off the chest nonsense. Ridiculous. But
yeah, back in the days when Superman could have any
Zod
power.
started off super hot, he's super hot, and just kind of petered out towards the end. He just couldn't follow through. So, you got a 3 out of 7. Still good, Zod. Still good, but could have done more.
My number 3 is another fairly recent entry, actually. I'm going with The Vulture. From Spider-Man Homecoming.
I haven't seen this movie. Still, I'm kind of personally protesting it at this point because I just haven't seen it and I just don't really care, but I'll get to it eventually.
You're missing out. I'm telling you that. But then again, we've been over this. I'm a bigger Spider-Man fan than you are.
I don't really,
Well, here's why I'm going to say The Vulture is actually a good villain. Again, going back to motivation, it was a good one. The movie, spoiling it for you, sorry, but basically, it opens up. The movie opens up in the wreckage as he runs a construction crew that gets a government contract to help clean up New York City after the Chitauri attack. And then all of a sudden, what is that? What is that group called? The cleanup crew or whatever.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember.
I think it's just called the cleanup crew or something like that.
Yeah, I think they are just called the cleanup, and they're pretty much the people who they clean up after major disasters caused by superheroes. But then it turns out they're actually instigating disasters, so that way they can keep getting government contracts.
I hope they kind of dive into that in the movies at some point.
It happens in the comics.
I mean, the movie. I hope they do in the movies because, honestly, the cleanup crew was only in it for 2 minutes. They were only in it for the opening scene where...
Hurrah for vast comic knowledge.
No, if I only knew how to do my taxes. But the point I'm trying to get at, though, is you get his motivation because as soon as his crew is about to start cleaning up, cleanup crew shows up and said, yeah, we've been hired by Tony Stark. He's given us a lot of money. He's got pulled with the government, blah, 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 blah. Michael Keaton, you and your crew get the hell out of here, right now. And pretty much like that's supposed to make him destitute. And then, but one of his guys comes up with some of the Chitauri tech. And after that, that's how he builds his suit and everything like that. So, given his motivation, his plan isn't the most original, I admit it. At the end of the day, it's really just I want to steal a lot of high tech from the government so I can rob more banks. Mm-hmm. But his suit was actually kind of cool, and on top of that, and like I said, his motivation was really cool, or at least believable, and on top of that, too, I know everybody's sick and tired of it, but they actually made a really strong connection to him and Peter Parker, because Peter was actually dating his daughter for a little while in the movie. Sorry. And on top of that, too, I like the fact that this guy actually survives at the end of the movie. We are going to see him again at some point.
Michael Keaton, Birdman.
Michael Keaton, he founded McDonald's. Which, sidebar, I saw the founder like 2 weeks after I saw Spider-Man Homecoming. Way big of a douchebag in the founder than he was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He was gnarly in that movie.
Oh, yeah. Just movie. Ruthless, yes. Yeah. So, made me not want to eat McDonald's ever again. I know. Not even for health reasons. Just, wow. But then I was also like, I want a Big Mac.
Right. Yeah, that's the stages you go through of McDonald's craving. It's like, it's like, I want a salad.
Yeah.
Chicken nuggets.
Yeah. On top of that, too, he's just a sadistic MF motherfucker. Totally just like he just does not want anybody getting in his way, and he's tired of people pushing him around, and you can just tell. So that's kind of my big thing. And on top of quotability, I got to see the movie again because it wasn't the greatest, but he had a really cool suit and he had cool toys. So, fair enough for me.
That?
Exactly.
What's better than that?
Alrighty. Number two.
So this was my kind of like left field ballpark pick, but I feel really strongly about this. And he's the only one on my list that actually accomplished what he set out to do. So, from The Watchmen, Ozymandias.
I can't believe I didn't think of him.
It's a good pick, right?
That's actually a great pick.
That's a solid number 2. Comic origins, 5 out of 5. He's literally copy and pasted right from the source material.
Well, that whole movie pretty much was.
The whole movie is, exactly, which is why I love that movie.
Save for one, the only thing I liked about them, except for the end, which honestly...
And that's why he gets rated here higher as a comic book villain than he would have if we were talking... Comic book villain. Comic book movie villain.
Because I'm actually going to be completely honest with you. And I know I might get some flack for it, but I like the end of the movie better.
The ending of the movie actually makes more sense than the book.
It does.
It really does.
It totally does.
And especially because now we're like, and we're getting into like recent comic days, like with the new events that are going on in DC, they're tying the Watchmen back to DC Comics, where like Dr. Manhattan is like involved in all of this. And one of the things that happens like really early on. In like the Watchmen universe is that like people find out that Ozymandias that like there are no aliens, which is like the easiest way that you could tell that like that plan doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Like everyone would be like, oh shit, aliens attacked us, and then like looking at their watch like 2 years later, be like, where the hell are the aliens? There are no aliens.
It's not only that though, but my problem with that giant squid was it was built by a bunch of guys with paper mache. Like, somebody didn't go up to it and just be like, poke it with a stick and like, this is fake! Someone's trying to pull fast one, guys!
And that's what happens in the comic book, and like, all society descends into chaos, and it's just like this awful, like, mess that happens.
Yeah, whereas like, where him framing it on Dr. Manhattan, you're like, that makes way more sense!
And Dr. Manhattan pretty much concedes at the end of the movie, and he's like, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But, so Ozymandias, to my ratings, comic origins, 5 out of 5. Quotability, 2 out of 5. Not a lot of quotable Ozymandias lines. Except for, see, I knew where you were going with this, except for the line when, Night Owl was like, we've got to stop you. He's like, what do you think, I'm some sort of comic book villain? I did it 35 minutes ago.
Exactly!
And that is just what you've always wanted to hear.
He's like, kaboom!
That is what you've always wanted to hear out of a supervillain to say. It's like, man, you'll never stop me. There's no way I could possibly get away with it. It's like, I already did it, man.
Yeah.
Like... we can fight if you want to. And then he kind of, like, indulges them for a little bit. He's like, yeah, sure, like, we'll fight, I'll catch a bullet, and, I'll mess you up on the floor, but, like, it's already done, man. Like,
which, to be quite honest with you, I get what you're saying when you're detracting him for quotability, but to be quite honest with you, I think that line just for me personally, would give him a 4 out of 5.
See, I think...
just because.
I think, but it's only because everything else that Ozymandias, Adam Veidt, says is just so cringeworthy.
Oh, yeah.
He's such a creepy guy.
Well, he's trying to maintain this facade.
Of, like, Alexander the Great, like, the only person I ever felt any kinship with... See, I actually know another quote. Yeah. The only person I ever felt any kinship, is any connection with died 300 years before the birth of Christ. And you're just like, oh my god. If someone actually said that to me in real life, I think I might fall over and actually die. Because it would be that cringeworthy. Like, my body would, like, seize and my organs would fail. And I'd be like, ugh! Like, I just start vomiting out of my eyes.
I think I would have a tough time not laughing in his face.
Right, exactly. It's so gross. And he's just like, he's kind of a creepy dude. I mean, it plays into the whole, like, I'm the world's smartest man. I just wish I wasn't the only one. And you're kind of like, oh my god, I hate you. Yeah. It's like people who are just like, I'm such a badass. Like that whole, like, culture is just like, you're like, oh, you're awful. Anyways, evil plan. Even before the destruction of Manhattan and blaming it on Dr. Manhattan, which is brilliant. I mean, just to put a nice bill on it.
Yeah.
But, evil plan. Kills one superhero, easily, at the beginning of the movie. Comedian, dead. Kills a bunch of Dr. Manhattan's, like, close friends and family, and, like, accomplishes to, like, drive him crazy and, like, send him off the world, so that way he's got motivation for it. Solid. Frames Rorschach, throws him in jail to kind of eliminate that problem. Kind of get it out of the way, and then pretty much is responsible for Rorschach's death at the end of it, and then convinces the other superheroes at the end of the movie that this is kind of the way that this has to be. So as far as the evil plan goes, like, dude's ruthless. Like, no holds bar, not to mention, like, killed
all of New York.
All of New York. Just gone. Like, wiped it off the map. Goodbye. That's why also success, 5 out of 5. Because, goddamn.
Fair enough.
Goddamn.
Fair enough.
Dude got bloodied.
My turn?
Yeah.
My turn is a guy you already talked about, so we're not going to dwell on it too much, but my number 2 is actually Zemo. Simply because going into the motivation thing, yeah, he had a fucking reason.
Yep.
He had a reason to hate the Avengers. I can't say I blame him, because first off, the Avengers, they created Ultron. Then Ultron decides, I'm going to turn this entire little town into a meteor that's going to destroy the Earth. And it causes Zemo's family to die, and, you know, that whole thing, but... Tragic. Which, yeah, I get it, and, you know, like, his plan... I've heard the arguments that his plan is, when people try to compare Civil War to Batman versus Superman, some people are just like, his plan is just as convoluted as Lex Luthor's was. I'm like, I can still follow the logic.
Yeah, I can too.
Plus, one big thing that people like to forget about is at the very end of the movie, everyone just thinks like, oh, how did he know that Captain America and Tony Stark were going to follow him all the way to Siberia? And he even says it, it's a quick line, you can miss it, but he even says it, this turned out better than I hoped. So in other words, his real plan was, his whole plan wasn't to get the Avengers there. They weren't supposed to be there. He was probably going to release that footage later. And then on top of that, too, showing Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, and Bucky Barnes the footage of the Winter Soldier killing Iron Man's parents. That was heavy shit. That was really heavy shit. And you can understand why after all that, like... And especially considering the fact that Steve lost all moral high ground. All moral high ground by admitting that he didn't tell Tony about it. Yeah, you can see why there was such a fracturing split between the two of them.
Oh, yeah.
So, the summation of what you said, plus the things that I just mentioned, that's why Zemo's my number 2.
I feel like now Baron Zemo should have taken over for Zod as my number, move him up. I still don't think he beats out Ozymandias.
No.
Like, at all. In fact, now I'm even having a hard time you know what? No, I don't, actually. I'm still very happy with my number 1 pick.
Okay.
And I think you and I have been both dancing around this character, and I think we all know where we're going with this, right?
I think, say it. Yeah. Just say it.
It's the Joker.
Which one?
Dark Knight.
Yep, me too.
High 5.
Me too.
Comic origins. 3.5 out of 5. Why? Because we don't know.
Nobody knows what the Joker's origins are.
So, yeah, cool. Actually, that works out perfect.
Yeah.
I couldn't give it a perfect 5 out of 5 because we don't know the Joker's origin, but I also couldn't give it a 0 out of 5 because we don't know the Joker's origin.
What's the line from The Killing Joke? Some days I remember it one way, some days I remember it another. If I'm going to have a past, I prefer it to be multiple choice.
Right. Pick a card.
Yeah.
He does the pick a card. Yep. No, absolutely. Quotability.
5 out of 5. Oh, yeah.
5 out of 5.
Yeah.
This is a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't even know what to do with one if I caught one.
I think my absolute favorite is it's just quick, but I just love the look on Heath Ledger's face when he sits down right next to Harvey, just goes, hi.
Yeah.
In the nurse's outfit. I'm just
yeah.
oh my god.
Oh yeah. He's so maniacal and he's just so creepy and he's just so like every scene that he's on is absolutely captivating and he made that movie better than what it could have ever been. Evil plan. 5 out of 5. It's chaos.
Yeah.
His plan was chaos.
There is no plan.
So again,
the plan is there is no plan.
You could rate him 0 or you could rate him 5. I'm going to rate him 5 because I'm a fan of the Joker. And he kind of just fucked everything up. I mean, he fucked up Batman's whole fucking universe. Like his friend, dead. His girlfriend, dead. Trust from the people of Gotham, dead. Like, all the other mobsters, also dead. Like,
the only problem I have with that, though, is the fact that when it comes to the whole dead Harvey and everything like that, like, why did Batman need to take the fall for it when you could have just as easily said it was the Joker who killed Harvey Dent, because no one would question that a psychopath would kill Harvey Dent.
Yeah, but I think it's still unclear. There's a couple things that, like, I've always thought about, like, after that movie. Like, okay, so, like, Heath Ledger in our world is past. Like, he's dead. He's, R.I.P. in peace, Heath Ledger. And I actually do mean that one. Seriously. Yeah. Not that I didn't about Alan Rickman. Right. But, like, that doesn't mean in that universe that he's just not, like, locked up in Arkham. Where he could be like, nah, I didn't kill him.
Yeah.
And it's weird. And that's kind of a situation where it's really weird for, like, a criminal mastermind to be like, oh, yeah, like, I killed hundreds of people. No, but I didn't kill that guy. Like, that's a weird scenario. It's like, okay, well, he just confessed to, like, yeah, he's like, yeah, he doesn't care. But he's like, no, I didn't kill him. That's weird. And that puts everyone in, like, a really weird kind of position.
Right.
So that's one thing. And the other thing that I always kind of, like, thought about that, and it's always been kind of teased and talked about and tossed around, is that, like, if he was a member of, like, Ra's al Ghul's group, which maybe he was, and, like, learned from them and was, like, kind of a side factor. And I don't know. He was just really good at what he did. Mm-hmm. So maybe he had some training, maybe not. But anyways, his evil plan was chaos. And Gotham City was just an absolute nightmare. And after everything happened, it created this great vacuum inside of Gotham City where everyone just kind of, like, rested on their laurels. And they're like, we don't need to worry about it. There is no crime anymore. Well, you know what happened then?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. As far as success goes, again, I'm going to give him 5 out of 5. Like, he didn't really have a plan, but he seemed pretty damn happy with himself when he got, captured at the end of that movie.
Yeah.
So, he didn't give a shit.
No, he didn't. And that's, he is without a doubt my favorite comic book villain of all time.
Oh, yeah.
So, easily. And, yeah, like, there's no denying it. He was great. I mean, right, what is it? He only had, like, a grand total of, 8 minutes or 12 minutes of screen time?
Something like that. It was probably under 20.
It was way under 20.
Yeah.
Way under 20.
Way under 20.
But he definitely...
Where's Rachel? 20 minutes of screen time!
But yeah, he completely and utterly like, even more so than Bane, and Bane had a gun to the city's head.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, everyone was just... Like, you could definitely feel more of the panic, whereas, like, when Bane took over... Like, the big difference between the Joker holding Gotham hostage and Bane holding Gotham hostage is Bane tried to act like he was Gotham's liberator.
Right.
This is for you, the people. You see, even I'm doing it, and I rag on that movie all the time. But the Joker was just straight up, no, I want this place to burn to the ground.
Right.
And that's it. I don't want anything else to happen. So...
He likes gunpowder and gasoline.
Why? Because they're cheap.
Quotability.
Exactly.
5 out of 5.
Honestly, I think I could say every one of his... I haven't seen the movie in like 10 years, and I think I could say every one of his lines.
Really, 10 years? I mean, I think like 10 weeks for me, but I think that...
but I saw it like 30 times, so...
As far as like the, like his plan, just making Gotham burn and like his overall like grand schemes, like his schemes came with an element of fun.
Yeah.
And that's, like, so quintessential to the Joker, but these were so dark.
Yeah.
It was like, you can either blow up this boat or that boat, and each of you get to decide which of the other boat explodes.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just, like, you can almost see...
You get to decide, Batman, whether you save the lawyer or your girlfriend.
And I'm actually going to switch the locations on you, because I'm just all about go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
Like, that was his pure motivation, was just like, you know what? Fuck it. And you just kind of have to respect someone whose pure motivation in life is, you know what? Fuck it. I mean, not that you gotta respect people that get, like, big face tattoos and, that type of stuff, but you know, I mean, there's something to be said for people who just, you know, check the fuck it box on life.
Exactly.
Take some more stones than I got.
It was honestly just a great example. What was it? I think I was watching an interview with it's either Bruce Timm or Paul Dini, and said it best how the dynamic between Batman and the Joker is interesting because with that, it's the superhero that's actually dark and brooding and scary. Well, the Joker's scary too, but, you know, never
Different kind of
smiles.
scary.
Never smiles.
Yeah.
Never smiles. Whereas the Joker, Batman just feels like he does what he does because he feels like he has to.
Mm-hmm.
The Joker does what he does because it's fun.
Right.
And he's colorful and always laughing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just,
I know.
it's so terrifying. Just like to see somebody get that much pleasure out of,
Yeah, I know. It's weird.
Yeah. It's just, but I totally agree with it. And in all honesty, I like Jack Nicholson's version of it, but I think I've been over this before. I have issues with Tim Burton.
Yeah,
a few.
See, actually, no. See, I really like that version of the Joker, and
Jack Nicholson's.
Yeah.
No, I don't have anything against. Like, he was definitely the better. Again, I think he was the better part of the movie between him and the hero.
And I think for the most part, like most of my villains, like had a bit of grandiose to them. Where the Jack Nicholson Joker still felt kind of pedestrian. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that, like, you know, like, Ego was like, I'm going to conquer the universe. And Zod is, I'm going to conquer the world. And, like, this version of the Joker is like, I just want to burn the whole fucking thing down.
Yeah, exactly.
Where, like, the Joker from the original Batman kind of seems like he'd be happy if he ended up as, like, the mayor.
Right,
Which
exactly.
I'm like, you could do better, you know.
Exactly.
Like, you try a little more, you know. You could really ruin stuff, you know. But he's just like, he just wants to be like the top gang boss,
right?
And it's like, you know, I mean, Ozymandias blew up New York City,
right?
You know, you poisoned the shampoo,
exactly.
you know, like, oh no, we can't use deodorant. Ah, yeah. Well, you know what?
I mean, the one thing I will say, though, I do like about it is the Tim Burton one is that definitely feels like one of the roles where Jack Nicholson is being his most Jack Nicholson.
Oh, yeah.
In the best ways possible.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, like, the sequel to that one, as far as, like, good villains go, is stacked. I mean, the Penguin's super creepy. Michelle Pfeiffer is super creepy and hot. And Christopher Walken is hilarious and super creepy.
Well, I mean, it's Christopher Walken. When is he not hilarious and creepy?
He's just so funny.
Just so funny.
All the time. He just can't help it.
No.
Santa Claus. I wish. I'm just some poor schmo.
Do you not understand the concept of the Tooth Fairy? Which is the best line of the rundown. I don't give a damn what anybody says.
Get on your knees. No. Why? I don't want to. I'm going to shoot you. I don't care. 7 psychopaths. Yeah, Christopher Walken. We should probably just come back and do just
the top 10 Christopher Walken moments.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I can't do that because my number one would be
cowbell.
I was going to say any SNL performance. Period.
Well, the cowbell or Joe Dirt, and I'm going to stab you in the face
with a soldering iron. No, but I would say though, one of the better SNL bits would be because. The big thing about Christopher Walken is he always looked at the cue card. Always looked at the cue card. In fact, they did a whole, for one of his monologues, he's saying, you say potato, I say potato, whatever the name of that song is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's reading it, and he goes like, you say tomato, and I say tomato. Like, he isn't aware that the song is supposed to be sung differently. But at any rate.
And this is what happens with ADHD, folks.
Yeah, exactly.
So we had honorable mentions for worst villains.
Well, we also had honorable mentions for, like, the villains that didn't make the list.
Oh, we had those?
I did. I thought we were doing that.
Oh, I didn't have those. I had just a quick honorable mentions of worst villains. But I do have one villain that I left off the list that I felt like should have been included, and I was remiss that I didn't even think about him until we started this.
Do you actually want to mention our honorable mentions for the worst villain, or do you want to save that for another list?
Okay, well, who's your honorable mention for best villain?
I have two.
Okay.
I have two.
Okay.
And one of them is a guy you mentioned. My first one is Bane.
Mm-hmm.
Simply because, for me, we can get into, like, first off, I've made it very clear, I'm not a big fan of The Dark Knight Rises. I got to see it again because I haven't seen it since it's been in theaters, but My big problem with Bane is the mere fact, and it's similar to my other guy, it's the mere fact that after everything he does, after everything he says, it turns out he's just a henchman.
I know.
That's kind of like, really?
I know.
And also...
Still a badass.
Still a badass. I'm not going to deny that.
But still a henchman.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, that just kind of takes away a lot from Bane, personally. And my other honorable mention is Loki. Because, yeah, I like Tom Hiddleston. He does a great job with the role, but, kind of like what you say to the whole quotability thing we were talking about earlier. The only Loki quote I can think of off the top of my head where he even sounds remotely threatening is like, it's like where Nick Fury looks at him in the first Avengers movie. It's like, what is your quarrel with us? A boot has no quarrel with an ant. And it's just like, all right, that's like not quite Shakespearean enough. Like, he's a great villain to get shat on.
Right.
Like, I think one of my favorite, well, actually, it's not to him, but one of my favorite moments is, it's not even to him, but when when Thor looks at Iron Man and goes like, do you even know what's going on here? Shakespeare in the Park. Doth mother know you're wearing her drapes? Like,
yeah, I know. Like I said, I can think about quotes about Loki from other people. It's like, he's my brother. Like,
he killed 50 people in 2 days.
He's adopted.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I know that. Like,
yeah, or how even in Thor Ragnarok, where like he tries doing the whole, I'm going to cast an illusion to make Thor think I'm following him, and I'm going to go off and do my own little thing. And then Thor just zaps him. It's like, dude, come on. Like, you do the same thing over and over again. Like, it's called growth. It's called development. Like, which is just pretty much like you said, I think, in the podcast. It's just the writers be like, yeah, we know.
Yeah, we know.
We don't have...
We understand that but, like, we understand that you love him like this, so we're not going to change him, but we also realize that we are bored of writing him like this.
I think we're going to get a change of him in Infinity War. I wouldn't be... Just because of the way when he saw the Tesseract, the way in Ragnarok, the way he looked at it, kind of like, I don't want to do this, but I have to do this kind of a thing. So that's just my prediction.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, but Loki's been doing the same shit in the comics for 50 years.
Well, my whole thing is just with Loki at this point, it's just, why does everybody get... Somebody's like, Loki, how can you do such a dastardly thing? I'm like, he is the god of mischief. What do you expect?
Right.
That's kind of like, Satan did something evil? Why would Satan do something evil?
Because he's
sated.
Right. He's Skeletor.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to do nice things. I want to be evil.
I don't want to feel good. I want to feel evil now.
He-Man! So I do only have one honorable mention. And again, this, I pull from a little bit more obscurity on this one. And I picked a Dark Horse character. Yeah, I know. We don't really review those on the show, but we do.
Because I don't think I've read a single Dark Horse comic in my life.
But my God, my shelf is full of them. Please.
I know. I got to get into that. For some reason, I feel more inclined to get into Dark Horse than Image.
Yeah, not Image. I felt okay personally, and this is me because I'm a much bigger fan of like the darker horror gothic style. Like I love Mike Mignola, and I'm a huge fan of like just the Victorian era gothic and gloom and doom and monsters and blood and all that stuff. Like that's me. I'm just that kind of guy.
Right.
And Dark Horse caters to that, so we be cool. Where Image, I always felt like they were the superheroes that Marvel had on the drawing board, and they were like, yeah, close, but we just don't have a spot for you at this time. Like the superheroes that went to Image, I felt like if they were hiring for superheroes at Marvel, there were like on the last round of callbacks on their job applications, and we're like, thanks, but it just comes down to a guy who just lives 5 miles closer to the office.
Right.
Like that was it. That's like the only difference. And like they were just like good, but not good enough.
I don't know. To me, like just this isn't based on anything I've read. This is just based on like things I've observed by watching like other people review Image comics and everything like that. Particularly, what was his name? Linkara on Atop the Fourth Wall. Whenever he reviews Image comics of the '90s, the golden age of Rob Liefeld, like where nobody had a foot.
Yeah, no.
Nobody had feet, and everybody had a chest that was...
Yeah.
Yeah, it just seemed more like, with the exception of maybe Spawn, it just seemed more like the Image Comics superheroes were just bad parodies of superhero tropes.
Right. And to a big extent, they were. So, as far as my Dark Horse character goes, the one that I pulled from this, Rasputin from the first Hellboy. Yeah. Comic origins, I give it 5 out of 5 because not only is he historically accurate to the comics, but he's historically accurate in general.
Period.
I mean, some embellishments on what happened after Rasputin died, the Mad Monk, but yeah, they pretty much got the origin story right on. Quotability, 0 out of 5 because I don't speak Russian.
I don't even think. What movie was he in?
He was in Hellboy. He was in the first Hellboy.
The first Hellboy movie?
The
Okay,
first
yeah.
Hellboy. Evil plan. So his evil plan, if you don't know, his evil plan was to open up a portal to the dark dimension where pretty much a whole bunch of like Lovecraftian, eldritch horrors and abominations exist. Think like not Cthulhu, but think more like Azagoth, like the shapeless beings. And I know I'm talking about.
I don't know any of them.
I know you're.
I just know they made fun of one of them in South Park.
So
the South Park game that just came out.
Well, yeah, Cthulhu they make fun of in South Park. But so his evil plan was to open up a portal to another dimension, and let the evil beings through, so they could conquer the world. Kind of convoluted because those evil beings don't give a shit about humanity at all. So you were pretty much king of the cinders at that point. So 3 out of 5. But I like it because it had some kind of dazzle to it. That was the same portal that let Hellboy in. So again, not great. Success, 1 out of 5. Why is that? First time he got sucked through the portal backwards and had like his back broken. Think like the alien in Aliens 1, 2, 3, 4. Any Aliens movie, because all of the aliens get sucked through an airlock at some point. It just happens.
Yeah, they do actually.
It always happens. It's like the same thing happens to every Aliens movie. Someone gets in a mech, get away from her, you bitch. That thing gets stuck through an airlock. The credits play, and we open up on the next one. That's how all the aliens end.
Honestly, I kind of sort of block everything that happens after Alien 2 out of my mind.
Alien Resurrection's pretty good. I like that one with Ron Perlman and
that one's awful.
I love that one. Shut up. And then as far as Rasputin's success, 0 out of 5. No, I gave him a 1 out of 5. I'm sorry. He got a 1 out of 5 because the first time he got sucked through the portal backwards. And his plan failed, and he let Hellboy in through the gate when Hellboy became a superhero, kind of, in that universe. And then the second time he tried it, after he got revived, he got sucked through the portal again and died. Again. So he didn't do too hot. But I like the fanfare and the glitz around it, and I felt like it was important to include a Dark Horse comic character, because we were getting another Hellboy movie with the dude...
A reboot.
With the dude from all the Tide ads.
Oh, yeah? And Stranger Things. Nope.
What's his name? David...
Wouldn't that be hilarious if, like, the last episode of the series finale for Stranger Things was just like, oh, man, I can't believe we just defeat... Are we going to have to fight another Demogorgon? Nope. It's Tide ad.
David Harbour.
Harbour.
I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of things in Stranger Things that are like super Lovecraftian that would make like a lot of sense if like Stranger Things just turned out to all be part of like the Hellboy universe. That would actually like not surprise me.
Well, you know what's really funny? Did you ever see the fan theories about how they say Stranger Things is actually just a really weird prequel to Parks and Recreation?
What?
Yeah.
No.
It's a purposefully weak fan theory.
We are going to do another show all dedicated to absolutely batshit fan theories.
Oh my god,
like
yes.
Jar Jar Binks, it was actually Snoke. That one.
Hold on.
That one can definitely be included as well. And then there's probably some other really juicy, just terrible.
Well, it's more like a joke fan theory than nobody takes it seriously. Shockingly,
I don't know.
Shockingly,
about that.
well, basically, all the real theories is just because they both take place in
Indiana.
They both take place in Indiana, and but my favorite one. Oh, and also the guy who plays who's the boyfriend in Stranger Things. Ben was his name. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Oh,
he looks like.
He looks a lot like Sean Ralphio.
I got hit by a Lexus.
Technically, I'm homeless. Yeah, they both look the same. And one of my favorite pictures ever was, it was a picture. It said, "Hey guys, Leslie Knope's origin story is really crazy," and it shows a picture of Eleven wearing a blonde wig, eating an Eggo waffle, right next to, and then a picture of Leslie Knope eating a waffle.
Oh my god!
It's hilarious. I died.
Wow.
I died.
Yep.
I absolutely died.
But we are going to do that show really soon because we've got a couple weeks until Pacific Rim 2, which is, I think, the next big movie that we have up on the review docket.
Yeah, it is actually. And then, what's the one after that?
Avengers.
Oh, yeah.
That would be, April. So
April.
end of March, end of April. And then I'm sure there's going to be some other things, but we have to depend how much money we want to spend on the cinema.
It's not a matter of how much money I want to spend on the cinema, Dan.
How much I can spend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. How about this one real quick in our closing minutes? Name what villains do you think should get some screen time?
Ooh, that's a good question. What villains do I think should get some screen time?
Or at the very least should get a second chance. You know what I mean?
Zoom.
Well, we need to get a Flash movie, but yeah.
Yeah, we need to get like a better Flash movie.
If that's even going to happen at this point.
Sinestro, same thing. Green Lantern.
Yeah, Sinestro needs a redo.
Because Sinestro's a badass.
He is a badass, actually.
Like out of like the Green Lantern fans out there, like everybody loves Sinestro. Like,
oh yeah.
He's
I couldn't name you another Green Lantern villain, to be quite honest with you.
I can.
Okay, the Red Lantern Corps.
Okay.
I'm not counting.
I'm
Okay.
gonna go with like the Black Hand.
The Black Hand. I don't know that one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Sinestro should be a guy who deserves a redo. I'm trying to think. Who would be a really, really?
I'm really looking forward to the eventual Kree Skrull War. That would be nice.
I think we're gonna get a taste of that in
Daredevil. Not Daredevil. Ghost Rider. As much as I hate Nicolas Cage, that could have been better.
Mm-hmm.
I refuse to respect that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the best that we can get out of that.
Well, you're very wrong, sir. But at any rate,
Hush would be great on screen. Tommy Elliott.
Mm-hmm.
Batman's got a really impressive rogues gallery.
We're going to get him, I know, but I'm really looking forward to see Deathstroke on screen.
Well, yeah. With that little teaser egg thing at the end of Justice League.
Or at least I hope.
Why don't we start our own league?
Yeah, that's my.
If that fucking movie does not have someone say, "Meanwhile, at the League of Doom,"
yes,
I am going to walk out and demand a fucking refund. I don't care if there's 0.04 seconds left in the movie. I want a goddamn refund. If someone doesn't say, "Meanwhile, at the Legion of Doom," why? Why wouldn't you do that? Just give me that. That's all I want.
Right.
You can hear me, DC Cinematic Universe. Actually, there's a lot that I want out of the DC Cinematic Universe.
A good movie.
Wonder Woman was good.
Yeah, it was good, but I still kind of am that was just Captain America all over again. It was good. Don't get me wrong. I still liked it.
I don't disagree.
I think you know what it is. I think at this point I just hold more of a grudge against it because I was
villain at the end, Ares.
Oh, very weak villain.
Yeah.
Very weak villain. But the point I was trying to get at is what was I trying to say? I think I hold more of a grudge against it right now because I was like, oh, there's actually hope for the DC Cinematic Universe.
I think you're right.
There's hope. And then I saw Justice League. I was like, that was okay.
I only saw the Justice League for the first time the other day, and the Flash runs funny.
How about just I didn't like the Flash at all?
But he runs funny.
I guess, yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, every time you see the Flash in the comics, right? He's just got absolutely perfect form, right? Mm-hmm. It's impeccable. It's like Usain Bolt, right? It's just drawn on the comics. You're yeah, that dude's a runner. Not only is he fast, but he's a runner, which just makes sense. That's. But this Flash kind of ran funny. He just kind of. I don't know. He was trotted kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, at least
it looked like he was always being held back by resistance bands.
Well, have you seen how Grant Gustin runs as the Flash in the TV show?
Yeah. They
just kind of zoom in on his face, and he just pumps his arms up in front of his face.
That's just a limitation of the CW's budget.
I know.
And there's a reason why I go through waves of watching and then not watching all of the CW shows because I realize that I fundamentally want to enjoy them, but I just cannot.
My problem. We could talk about this for another day, or we've talked about it plenty already. But my problem with those shows is just it's just the mere fact that there's always a subplot in every episode that just makes you go, "Don't forget, This is a CW program.
Oh yeah.
It's always it's always a crappy romantic subplot. Very, very, very crappy romantic subplot.
Right.
But anyway,
how is Flash going to defeat Grindr, but then also still make his date on time?
how about he's the Flash?
I know. And that's the thing that's annoying, is that the Flash is only as fast as the Flash needs to be per episode.
Yeah.
And that's just an absolutely infuriating thing.
Well,
when you see the Flash get just right hooked by Gorilla Grodd, and 5 episodes ago he was literally outrunning time.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Did he pull a hamstring in between now and then?
It always bothers me too.
Does he have an ingrown toenail?
Because what you just said, there's always a moment. Like in one episode, I swear to God, he ran back in time, and then somebody was like, Barry, we need you to do this speed thing. We need you to run this fast really quick because blah, 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 reasons. And then he follows it up with, I've never run that fast before. I'm like, you just ran through time.
Yeah, I know.
You don't get to say that.
No, I know.
Ever again.
Yeah. And it's the way that every episode opens. I'm the fastest man alive. Except
Well, this season he's not actually going up against a speedster, but we're going to get into that, a whole other story. I'll probably have my friend Meg on at the end of the season to talk about that, like we always do. But at any rate,
feel free to not invite me to that conversation because I will not be pleasant.
I wasn't going. Well, now I have to.
So that way I can just crap on it.
We crap on it anyway. But at any rate, for me personally, I'm going to say this real quick before we close it. If there are certain characters, we've talked about it, that I would like to see on screen or come back on screen and get a reboot, and there's a couple of them that I don't like how they're doing it. For me, number one, it's Venom. I'm sorry, dude, but after that trailer, I'm not looking forward to the movie.
I have hope.
That makes one of us.
Oh, I just thought of another character.
Who?
Omega Red.
Omega Red would actually be dope.
Right?
He would be so dope.
Right?
Yeah.
He's a Russian serial killer vampire mutant with
Tentacles.
Carbonadium tentacles that attack people.
Yeah, maybe a better version of Lady Deathstrike while we're at it, too.
Sure,
that'd be cool.
Weapon X, in general, should just get a fresh reboot.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything about that. Everyone who ever played William Stryker should be struck from the record.
Right. I didn't mind Brian Cox in X2. He was all right. Is it Brian Cox that played him in X-Men 2?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we could do... I know they've already announced it, but the fact that it doesn't look like it's going to be taking place in the MCU, I would actually like to see... Yeah, I get it, she's a Catwoman ripoff, but I would still actually like to see Black Cat.
Yeah, she is a Catwoman ripoff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Blatant. Like, it's not... Like, they didn't even try.
No.
They didn't even try.
No. A part of my soul wants Marvel Zombies to happen because I absolutely love those comics. But I know that's just a terrible idea because those comics are just terrible for your nostalgia. Until you see Spider-Man eat Mary Jane Watson's brains,
you haven't lived.
Well, at that point it's like, well, there's nothing else I need to see.
Right.
I'm sure the pyramids are nice, but I just saw Spider-Man eat Mary Jane's head, so
I haven't read Marvel Zombies yet, but I'm probably going to.
It's on the shelf.
Yeah. Who would be another good one actually?
Better version of Galactus.
Better version of Galactus. Actually, yes. Or your boy. Since we're talking about the Fantastic Four, your favorite. Doom. Honestly, I hope they do Doom right so much, because one of my favorite things about Doom is his absolute cadence, especially when he will refer to himself as in third person, but not call himself Dr. Doom. He will just refer to himself as Doom.
Puny mortal. You cannot stop Doom.
Doom waits for no man.
Oh yeah, that Doom should definitely get a really good reboot, and just don't do the origin story. Just stop. That's another thing. Let's just stop the origin stories in general, full on. Never do them again.
Yeah, no.
Let's make people read a goddamn comic book.
Right.
You can literally pick one up for $2.99. Give them away at Free Comic Book Day, but stop telling us characters order. Nobody cares how Doctor Doom got in the mask. Nobody cares how the Fantastic Four got to be. Show the Stretchy Dude and the Invisible Chick. It's fine. That's really what they should be called. If the Fantastic Four come back to Marvel, I really want them to
they're back. They are back.
Are they back now?
Well, not officially, but once this whole Fox merger ends...
Oh, no, I meant in the comics.
They're coming back.
Oh, no, I know, but eventually, everyone comes back eventually. The only people that ever stay dead are Bruce Wayne's parents and Uncle Ben. That's it. Everybody comes back.
Yeah.
Gwen Stacy,
She came back as a clone.
they all come back as clones, Kyle. Right now there are currently 2 Peter Parker clones out there, in addition to Peter Parker and Miles Morales. So there are...
and Miguel O'Hara.
Oh, yeah, so there are a grand total of...
6 Spider-Man.
6.
6...
Right. And also, Mary Jane Watson has has spider powers, and so does...
Wait, when did she get... I'm so far behind on all
Renew
this.
Your Vows.
Oh, yeah, didn't that just come out like a couple months ago?
Years.
A couple years ago?
Year and 6 months. Marvel's rebooting everything anyways under Marvel now.
It's now Legacy again, right?
No.
What's Legacy?
Legacy was like future and past, like meeting.
Anyway, we're rambling on. We're kind of over it. All right, guys, I think that's gonna do it for us. You know the drill. Follow me on Twitter, Kyle Daley 1987, Instagram Kyle Daley Comedy, or also on Twitter. We're on the Daily Chat Podcast. Follow us on Facebook. Same thing. Dan, got anything else you want to say, or?
Meanwhile, at the Legion of Doom.
All right, that's gonna do it for us, guys. Bye.
Well, that was fun. Who's for Chinese?